Cool. So, what's your name? Where do you come from, bro?
Hello, my name is Canice. I'm from Ireland, but at the moment I'm currently living in Marbella, living the life. Everything's good, yeah.
Wonderful. And what campus are you in inside the real world? And how long have you been inside the real world?
So I've been in the real world for probably around a year and a half now. I originally started in the content creation campus. I then went into the affiliate marketing campus for a while, made some money there, learned some of the basic editing skills. Didn't have a clue how to edit before I joined the real world. So sort of thought, I have a bit of a creative side to me. Why not learn how to make some content, edit some videos? Thought it was quite cool. Had no idea how to do it. So just hopped into the campus. Obviously, Pope, the professor, watched through some of his lessons on how to edit and CapCut and some of the basic editing softwares. Started getting some. Started the cash challenge. Actually, was the first ever thing I done. So it was like try make money in 30 days. I was like, right, there's no way I'm going to be actually able to make money in
Mm.
30 days. Like I have no idea how to do it. So like a week into the real world, um, I think I got a client for like £70 a month or something like that. And
Hmm.
like I'm surprised he even paid me because like my stuff was terrible because it was like my first week in, my skills were terrible. But seventy pounds in my first week. So that was basically my membership paid for, in the first week.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
like
That's
around,
good. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm in profit in the first week of joining the real world basically. Um,
Yeah.
so I then started looking at and trying to improve my skills. Talking to some of the guys in the real world. How can I do this? Everyone there to basically help you. Putting in some content submissions. People were like, change this, change that, and I was like, eventually was doing that for a couple of weeks, stuff like
Hmm.
that, and then yeah, I joined the affiliate marketing campus. Started making money through there, promoting their real world through, content for the guys. That was great for a while, and then I eventually, I don't know everyone. I think everyone does this. They go into the real world, they see all the ways you can make money, all the different campuses. They start bouncing between campuses if one isn't working. So I was doing that. I was learning to use how to use AI whenever that first dropped because I was like, okay, this has dropped. Let me be one of the first people to try and make money from it. I also made money off that as well.
Yeah.
Through Professor Cam and Pope, they taught me how to make some chatbots. Ended up getting a couple sales in them. But then after that, I was sort of like at a standstill. I was like, what am I gonna do? Well, I have to focus on one thing if I want to actually make proper money. Because I was making bits and pieces of money throughout the year. But I eventually went back to content creation. So that's when I sort of was like, okay, let me just lock in this one campus and let's see what happens. And you know, I'm safe to say, I done pretty well since locking in that one campus.
Very good. Very good. And you said you're in the content creation. Your professor is Pope.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me three core principles that Pope has maybe taught you in
Yeah.
terms of creating content and acquiring clients. What are his core principles in order to do that?
So some of the principles that I've followed from him is about, moving with speed when it comes to, a client wanting a piece of content. They maybe say, I want this tomorrow. What you have to do is you just have to block out all the noise, just go straight to work, you know, get that piece of content to your client and, get the cash in, for example.
Hmm.
Another thing would probably be, um, never sort of, lay down, if something bad happens within your business, or like a client maybe doesn't want to work with you anymore or something like that, you know, use it as nearly like a positive rather than a negative. You need to figure out why that client maybe left you, what you
Yep.
can do better to improve and make sure it doesn't happen again. And then obviously another thing is, just talk to other people. He's always in the chats talking to people, just asking simple questions. He always gives a nice piece of advice to you. And you're able to just use that throughout your day or throughout your week or for however long you want to use it. It's great.
Nice, Canice, man. And what's the story with have you made any mistakes on your way? When you started your agency, and is there any mistakes that you've made that you'd probably tell someone not to make if they were going to follow what you're doing in content creation?
Yeah, 100. I've made plenty of mistakes, but the number one thing is never get fucking lazy. You can't become lazy. If you make some money within a week, or within a month, and you think, oh, nice, I made some money, I can, relax a bit now. That's the worst thing you can possibly do. For example, it happened to me before. I had a client. I got a bit, I was like, nice, got some money, spent some money, everything
Happens.
was nice. Because this was around after about 4 months in the real world. I had a client pay me around £1,000 a month
Yeah.
for, editing and content strategies, everything like that. I was feeling nice. I got my job on the side. I was making, pretty decent money from my job, and then obviously the real world. I got a bit lazy, ended up, putting less effort into some of the stuff that I was doing, and
Yeah.
I regret doing that now because stuff like that comes to bite you, So
Yeah.
that happened to me. I ended up, losing a client. That stuff happens. I was like, what do I do now? I was comfortable. Now I'm in the worst position I've been in since joining. Just never become lazy or never get comfortable. You always have to keep going.
Very good. Very good. And what would, your average day in the real world be? So how many hours per day would you spend inside the real world?
So for me at the start, I was pretty much in the real world. 4 to 5 hours a day.
Hmm.
And that was when I'd come home from my job or school. I was still in school the first time I joined. I actually ended up leaving school. I talked to some of the people in the real world. They're like, this is my situation. What should I do? I basically
Yeah.
took all the pieces of advice, sort of
Yeah.
merged them in the one. And I found out that, leaving school and going to get a job as well. Because, Luke, Luke, Tate's cousin, he basically always says, job, always get a job as well. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I need to get a job. I got a part time one in the bank, as I've told you. And that was perfect for me because it allowed me to have some time on my side hustle as well, which is now not a side hustle. But yeah, I was probably spending around, I'd probably say around 3 to 4 hours a day, after gym and everything like that. Um, because I needed to learn all the skills. I needed to take every piece of information I needed from what I've paid for and apply it to real work that I was doing. So after about a couple of months, maybe like 4 or 5 months, I was mostly it was maybe it dropped to like 1 to 2 hours a day because I've
Hmm.
taken the skills and I'm applying them now.
Yeah.
So I'm in the real world less. I'm working more. You know what I mean? Outside of
Of
it,
course.
trying.
Of course. So you've grown what you're doing to a point where you're so busy that you can't be in the real world as much as you say you'd wanted
Yeah,
to before.
that's
Yeah, but
exactly
that's
what's
good.
happening.
That's where we want everyone to go, isn't it? Like everyone needs to be making money. And
Yeah.
you know, what's next for you in the real world in terms of content creation? Are you going to grow your agency more? Are you going to try and learn more? Or are you going to try what's next for you, Canice? Because I know you've got a good work ethic. I know that already. So what's next for you?
For me personally, I want to try and find some people in there that are, maybe just like me when they first started.
Hmm.
Be able to maybe give some time to them during the day. Help them out whatever way possible. But for
Hmm.
me, it's moving from what I'm making now to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7x. Within the next before the end of the year actually. Because
What are you making now, if you don't mind me asking, from the real
so
world?
just this last month. So last month I made around £7,000, which is
Very good.
is
Very good.
pretty good. But like
Yeah.
the couple months before that, it was like 3, 5, 7. But
Yeah,
in total, I've probably made around 50K in a year and a half. You know what I mean?
bro, that's unreal for someone of your age who's picked this up from just maybe your phone or your laptop or however you've done it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and how has your video editing skills come along since you've
yeah.
joined?
So like at the start, I was really bad. As I said at the start of the interview, it was like this guy paid me £70, and like I don't even know how he is paying for me. I was terrible. But in terms of progression, whenever you spend more time doing it, practice makes perfect. You're never going to be perfect at it, but
Yeah.
they've definitely improved a lot.
Hmm. Wonderful, bro. Wonderful. So, what is in terms of content creation? How do you keep up with, the so the progression of content creation obviously is now moving into like the likes of AI. I
Yeah.
know that we do have an AI campus inside the real world, but in terms of content creation, how do you keep up with today's sort of stuff, like with all the latest gadgets and latest apps and stuff like that? How do you keep up with all that?
I think the real world is probably the best place to be if you want to keep up with that sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it doesn't matter what day it is or whatever, if something new comes out, the real world have it covered within a week. You know, you have a full section on how to learn that thing in the real world within a week. So it's like people, like everything's up to date. You know, you're not learn. It's not like in school where you learn a textbook that's bloody 25 years old, maybe. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
like you're getting updated stuff at all the time. So that's probably one of the best parts about that, and that's how I can do it.
I like to ask this question, Canice. So a lot of people say online, you get a lot of the Egypts online that say things like, well, you can learn this stuff on YouTube if you really want to. Would you say your results are much different than if you would say, learn this stuff on YouTube?
Yeah, 100%. You can go on YouTube and you can watch a video for free. You know, you can watch a video for free how to do it. You know,
Yeah.
you're maybe learning from someone who isn't a millionaire in that industry. Like in the
Hmm.
real world, you're learning from people who are millionaires in that industry.
Hmm.
And, you know, you're putting that investment in as well. You
Yeah.
know, if you're paying money, you're more likely to apply yourself rather than someone on YouTube.
Very
Like, you know,
good point.
yeah,
Very good point. If you're invested, you're more likely to spend more time because you've spent money.
yeah,
Very good
exactly.
point. And you know what? I never actually had that answer. I've never had that answer. So yeah, I'm really impressed.
Yeah.
Really impressed.
That's what I found. I before I joined the real world, I was watching YouTube videos trying to do stuff, and I was like, oh, I'll just click off this video, and it doesn't really matter. But since joining the real world, I was like, okay, I've paid for this now. This is when I had no money, basically.
Hmm.
I paid for this now. You know, let's make some money back from it. You know.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. I love that attitude, Candice. So look, I'm sure you're going to go far. Obviously, I know who you are inside the real world. We spoke on Instagram because of your own work ethic. We've spoke before. But
Yeah, yeah, of
yeah, and we will speak again very shortly. But I
course.
just want to say thanks for giving me your time today, Candice. It's lovely to hear from you, mate. And I'm sure you're going to smash it if you keep just put your head down. You're already making them introductions into the right networks. You know Luke. You know a few of the other boys that I know already, and you're still such a young age. So
Yeah,
no, just keep going the way you're going, bro. I'm proud of you. So
yeah. Cheers, bro.
all right, G. Thanks for your time, Candice. I'll see you soon, pal.
All right, man.
Bye, mate.